Hi, and welcome back to our podcast, Who Knows?
Who knows what we're going to talk about today? You do.
Yeah, well, I do, but firstly, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing much better than yesterday. Yesterday was a long, emotional day. But today, the sun's shining, birds chirping, everything's fine.
Great.
Yeah, I got a much better sleep night. And I feel more grounded, so yeah, yesterday was just everywhere.
Can I just say, when you have a day like that, because you just, it's hormones.
Yeah.
And you just came onto your period, and I know, and because I'm a woman and I can see the pattern every month, and because normally, not every month, but when you have a day like yesterday, when you're crying and the world is shit and just something little minor happens and you're just like, blah, 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 Dad goes, oh my God, she's depressed. She's what's going on? He breaks, his heart breaks, and I go, listen, darling, just relax. It will pass in another day or two.
It's called being a woman.
It's called and it's happening every month sometimes. And he just like, yeah, oh, you sure? Are you sure it's not something? He gets so worried, poor guy. So I'm glad you're having a better day today.
Because the thing is, I'm already a very emotional person.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive. And it's not every month, but certain months the hormones just like boost or something.
Yeah.
And it's just every minor thing can either like make me want to like cause arson or just on a ball in a fetus position and dying on the floor,
A thing which I've said to you before, but I'm just going to mention it here because the listeners might think this is a good idea if you're a teenager. Or if you're a parent that have girls that are experiencing a lot of pain or emotional trauma, or not trauma, but around this period each month. If you stop eating sugar, the pain and the emotional haywalk that it can feel like,
100%.
just try for a month not eating sugar whatsoever, and half of it will go away. I know it's hard.
For any teenagers listening, I know you're hearing this and you're like, oh, of course our parents always blame everything on sugar on our phones and all this. Because the thing is, I was also like that. I still am like that sometimes, because some things you say, I'm just like, whatever. But this is genuinely true. Like, I can genuinely tell that if I eat a lot of sugar, my cramps and my pains and my hormones will be just through the roof.
Whereas it's a drug.
Where if I don't, I'll feel completely fine.
Yeah.
So, good advice.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
But it's not your phone. Anyway, how are you?
I'm really good. I'm full of energy. I've slept good. I had a sleep in yesterday till 7 o'clock. I was so happy to wake up when it was actually light outside. Because I wake up between 5 and 5:30 every morning. The rooster isn't even up because we have a rooster like a block away here that I hear.
There's chickens everywhere on this island.
And it's pitch black. Even the cats are going, what are you doing up, woman? So, yeah, I'm full of energy. And I've had a coffee.
Which is bizarre. Because my mom has always been the tea person.
I'm a teapot, yeah.
She always drinks tea. She's never drank coffee in my entire life. I've never seen her with a cup of coffee. It's always been mom drinks tea, dad drinks coffee. And then recently, just a few weeks ago or months ago, she started drinking coffee. Not every day, but way more often than I ever thought you would. And in my head, coffee and my mom don't mix. So seeing it happen, I'm like, who are you? Where is my mother? Is she okay? Because this is not her. So, yeah, it's very bizarre to see.
Yeah, I've tried to get decaf here because I'm very sensitive to caffeine. I've always liked the taste and the smell of coffee, but it doesn't sing well with me when it enters my body, because then I get really scatty and energy. Yeah, I kind of go for stuff that kind of calms me. I have enough energy, I think. But I can't get decaf on this island. It doesn't exist. So it's a bit of a thing, this, but I think it's because coffee grows here. They have coffee tasting things you can go to, and
They take it
they're
serious.
very proud of the coffee in Indonesia. So anyway, yeah, so I'm doing really good today. And I thought we could talk about insecurities today.
Yeah, because we've already touched on the topic about body insecurities and body issues and all that, but insecurities, there are so many levels to it. It can be emotional, it can be mental, you could be insecure about your personality, the goals you have, your actions, relationships, social life. There's so many different levels to it, not just body issues. So I thought it was also a very interesting topic.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So is there any, if you can bring up something that you're insecure about on the top of your head, what would that be?
Physically, I don't really care because I think being insecure about your body is stupid. I do have minor ones like my double chin, but it's like if I think about it long enough, I'm like, that's stupid. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? But I'd say I'm a pretty secure person most of the time. I think the time where I'm least secure is when I'm in a relationship because of my BPD. For the people who don't know what BPD is borderline personality disorder. No, I'm not diagnosed.
And it's not a disorder. I don't like the word disorder.
I'm not diagnosed because it's expensive, but I can almost guarantee that I have it because I have 90% of the symptoms. So, but, yeah, because when...
Would you feel, can I just sidekick a little bit? Would you feel more comfortable to have a diagnosis and label that you have that? Or...
I mean, like, when I first was realizing that I had BPD and, like, my therapists were telling me, yeah, you most likely have BPD and all these things, then I was really desperate for a diagnosis because at that time my life was chaos. I just wanted something in order. It would comfort me to have the diagnosis just so, like, that little gremlin voice in the back of your mind saying, like, oh, you're just crazy, like, shuts up. But at the same time, I don't need it. I don't need it at all. Like, I'm very comfortable with just...
It's not an insecurity as such.
No, I mean, like, I'm very secure in the thought that I have BPD. I don't really need...
Can we call it BP and take away the D? Because disorder, it feels like such out of balance in my world.
Okay, take the D and turn it into diagnosis.
Better.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
They should rename it everywhere.
Of course, because you said so.
No, but I don't like certain labels that falls in. It sounds negative. I don't like it.
But it's called a disorder because it's in the way of people's lives on a daily basis. So much so that so many countries have assisted suicide for BPD because, like, psychologists don't know what to do with people with BPD because that's how severe it is. So they're like, hey, if you want to die, we'll help you. Yeah. So that's why it's called a disorder. It's not supposed to be a happy thing.
Well, you're normally happy.
Because I'm in a very safe space, luckily. Yeah. I've grown up with good parents.
Thank you.
In a good environment. Some people haven't.
Yeah, true.
And that makes their BPD 1,000 times worse.
Okay. Sorry, that was just a little bit of a side note.
Yeah.
So back to insecurities.
So because of my BPD, a lot of BPD symptoms usually pop up when you're in a relationship. Like, most of the time, I forget that I have BPD. It's just when I get triggered and switched. Like, for example, yesterday. Like, I was completely fine. my day was fine, and then something happened, and then my world was ending for like a solid hour, and then I switched back and everything was fine again.
And that's BPD or hormones?
Both. Because it's so intense and I can get out of it like that.
Yeah.
But in like that's a very rare thing for it to happen for me to get triggered like that and switch on and off. But in relationships, this isn't just me, it's a general thing with BPD that usually most symptoms do come up while in a relationship, because BPD is surrounded by abandonment issues and traumas and certain things like that. And when you're in a relationship and you have an attachment to someone, the thought of them leaving makes you go crazy.
So if I analyze what you just said, that one insecurity that you might have is being abandoned.
100%.
Is that an insecurity?
It's been an issue, 100%. I have been trying to work on it and kind of detach from the in BPD there's this term called favorite person, which is where you can meet someone and then be completely obsessed with them, but not in a like, oh, you're pretty cool type of way. It's like, if I don't surround my life around this person, my world's gonna end type of way. And that's usually how most BPD relationships start, at least for me, is that first they become my favorite person, then I get obsessed with them, and then eventually I'll get so attached that like everything just sucks because I'm so attached.
Yeah, and you kind of suffocate the relationship.
Yeah, and it's just completely draining for me, and it's most likely horrendous to be around. So yeah, I have been trying to kind of cure my own BPD in a way. It is an air quotes uncurable diagnosis, but at the same time I do believe, and I have seen people who have been able to take control of it in like most ways. And yeah, I've been trying to learn how to detach of the situation, because I hate being that insecure in relationships, because it's like, when I'm in that situation, I think to myself, this isn't me. I'm not like this. Someone else is doing this. Like, because that's genuinely what it feels like to me, is that someone else is pulling the gears and the like controls, because I genuinely don't feel like this. But in this situation, I'm like this little wimpy baby, but I know I'm not.
No.
You know, as soon as I get out of a relationship, I'm back. I'm strong. I'm up. I'm like an Amazon woman. But in a relationship, I'm like this wimpy, fragile little baby, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
Because you're pretty. I think you're secure in yourself.
Yeah.
And then but is it like that in a relationship with friends as well, or only when you have a boyfriend?
Only when it's a loving thing.
Right.
Because with friends, even though I've had my friends become my favorite people, because I've very rarely had more than like 2 friends at a time. Like I've never had big groups of friends, you know. So because all my focus is on this person, then eventually they will become my favorite person. But it's, I have to have some emotional loving connection to the person for it to get like that. But yeah, it's most likely when in relationships, not that common in friendships. But yeah,
but I think it's amazing that you're actually aware of this, because then, like you said, you can kind of control it and work on it and be more, just develop that security in whenever you go into your next relationship.
It's just so annoying because it's a personality disorder. So it's like, there's so many different
Diagnose.
aspects. Okay, whatever. There's so many different levels to it, and then when you think you've got one, then another one pops up, and another one pops up, and it's this, and then suddenly this one's changed, and it's like, because your personality changes.
All the time. Mine
Exactly.
changes as
So
well.
good luck trying to fix something that's constantly changing.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily see it as I need to fix myself in this area.
No.
It's more like I want to grow.
Yeah.
I want to let go of some of the insecurity nonsense I
Yeah.
have from childhood, basically, that is still ghosts in my mind that pops up now and again.
I have a question.
Right.
This isn't really based on insecurities, but considering we're talking about BPD, like I've found out that, or like became aware of what BPD is at age 15.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've been convinced that I'm fairly certain that I have that diagnosis with or without the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And through researching what BPD is and all these things and like analyzing all these, and we've had conversations about it, and you've related to some of these symptoms and things like that, but you don't really care at all about what you want to call it. To you, you're just you.
Yeah.
But like, since we've only had a few conversations about like the whole BPD thing,
Yeah.
but we had one serious conversation on your birthday, I think it was.
What a day to talk about.
Right?
Like we
What
do.
a day.
Yeah.
About BPD, and we went really in depth into it, and like just out of curiosity, like, do you think about it at all? Like, do you feel
Never.
connected to
Never.
BPD at all?
Do you know
or-
what? If you start reading, because I'm always interested in psychology and different, especially mental, health and all that. And if I start reading about Asperger's, or if I start reading about autism, or if I start reading about BPD,
Yeah.
I feel that I have all these labels.
Yeah.
Because you can fit any one person into these diagnoses, I think. And I think also because I grew up in a different environment where we didn't label anybody at school, and they didn't they didn't have that then, which
Yeah.
I think helps a lot of kids these days, because they have, if in my class, for example, it was a boy or a girl that couldn't sit still and they couldn't focus and concentrate,
ADHD.
then today that is called
ADHD.
yeah. When I was at school, that was just a restless child that might needed to go back one class, since if they were in first class, might need to wait. So I grew up in a different era where we didn't have that, or we didn't have the education around it either.
That doesn't mean you have to still live in that era.
No, but I'm not interested enough to dig deeper, because looking at, okay, I have BPD, or I have Asperger, or I have autism, or because I think I probably have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and most people do.
When it comes to ADHD and autism and those types of diagnoses, I think everyone has it.
Yeah.
I think everyone has a little bit of it.
That's what I mean.
But when it comes to, like, for example, we'll take schizophrenia or something like that. Like, those, to be considered and diagnosed schizo, you need very specific symptoms.
Yes.
And
but these ones that are a little bit in the gray zone, you can. It's not black and white. If white is just a normal kid or a normal person, and black, you're schizophrenia. There's not a lot of maybe room in between the black and the white, the schizophrenia and a normal person. But with Asperger's and BPD and all that, there's kind of it's just a big gray zone. So I'm not so interested in looking into it for myself. And also I see it, first of all, it can help. It can really help kids to have that label, but it can also not help, because 100%. I can see, I got this, I don't know how many labels, They use that as excuses
100%.
in life, so it can also
100%.
backfire, I think. So I'm not really,
No, the reason I ask is because, like, I know you and Dad are going through your own healing, and
Yeah.
like you're growing, and you're finally realizing that, hey, we also have traumas and things like that. That
No, we realized that a long time ago, but we're
We
looking
just-
at it more now.
You just ignored
Yeah.
it. Okay. Anyway. No, and because, like, ever since I learned about PPD, I've been certain that you also have it. Because,
Yeah,
like,
I
that,
know.
and I've always said, ever since I was a kid, that the reason why we butt heads, because we rarely butt heads, but when we do, the reason why is because we're so similar. And I've never understood that until I learned about BPD. And that's because we both switch.
Yeah.
And we both just get into rage, and we're like, like, we don't scream or yell at each other, but like there's that fire in us that immediately turns on.
Yeah. And then it's gone in an instant.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because, like, everyone's different, you know? Everyone grows and processes things their own way. Personally, knowing that I have BPD has helped me realize my own emotions, how to control them, how to help other people around me, like, be, and things like that. And that's why I asked, because I don't know if you're like that and if that would help you in any way.
I always think it's a good idea to learn about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, as the more we can learn about ourselves and who we are, the easier it is for us to walk in a balanced life and serve ourselves and others. So absolutely. And I love all that. I love looking into it, but I don't like to have the label.
Yeah, that's the thing I've
really
realized
don't.
is that you just don't like the word.
No, it's not just the word. It's like I probably have a bit of Asperger as well. When I start reading about that, I'm like, tick, tick, tick. I got that. So I just don't like to have a label, but I probably have it all, more or less.
Yeah.
So yeah, shall we swing back to insecurities?
Yes.
Now
We took a bit of a detour.
Yeah, which is fine. We always do that because we don't follow a script or anything.
You asked me what my insecurity is off the top of my head. What is yours, or are, if there's plural?
Well, if I'm going to pick one, that it's probably around my intelligence. And I know where it stems from. I was probably, I don't know, between 10 and 15, I guess, at school. And school can be so cruel. It can be so damn cruel and really destroy a person's security of self-confidence and feeling not good enough or not smart enough. And I was always, I don't know why this happened, but maybe some karma or whatever I needed to go through as a child. But I was always put in a class because we were moving around a lot. I never went to the same school my entire life. So when I started a new school, they were always these kids that were studying like hell. They had high grades on all the exams, and I was so not interested in school. And that not being interested, equal to me, or did it then and still is, that I wasn't smart enough because my exams came back. And of course that had nothing to do, I can see that now, it's got nothing to do by me not being smart enough. It's just that I was lazy, uninterested, and didn't study. Yeah. But now, as soon as I'm in, and this pops up, it's so funny. And we have a lot of super intelligent, very creative people around us. And when I'm in a room full of people that are highly educated, super smart and creative, I can feel insecure as hell.
Yeah.
And I know it hasn't got to do with I haven't got a PhD, I haven't got a university degree, I never went to university. I left school 15 years old as soon as I was legally able to leave. And I've never gone back. I've studied, but I've never gone back to university or anything like that because just the institution, like, I can't do it. I love that you can go, but I've studied now, but only things that I really, really have my heart and passion in it. So yeah, that's a big insecurity that I still. But now I'm watching it and I'm like, Jesus, woman, can you let it go?
Yeah.
Because when I look what I've done, I've written books, I write my newsletter, I love writing. We do this and this and this. I'm not intelligent. It's
Yeah.
just that insecurity is like because I haven't got the paper to prove
Yeah.
that I'm smart.
That's the thing that I'm very grateful about being like growing up the way I did, because I remember when I was being homeschooled and my friends would be going to school and I would see their work and what they're doing in school. I'm like, holy shit, I am genuinely stupid because I'm having trouble with dividing. These people are doing like Pythagoras theorem over here. I felt so behind. But then when I did finally go into school,
You are so smart and learn so easily.
but at the same time, I didn't, because I was the same. I had very little interest in school. But the reason why I did good in school was because I owed it to you guys in my head. Because I was like, okay, they're paying for this school. This is an expensive school. You're not going to fuck this up.
Just to let you know, we homeschooled Emmylou from the year 7 till 14.
Yeah.
And then when you were 14, you wanted to go to this British private school in Spain because your friend started that
Yeah.
school. So we let you.
Yeah. And I was like, it's expensive.
Yes, it was.
You're not going to waste their money. You're going to do your job right. You're going to, like, that was what motivated
Yeah,
me.
it's not a social club.
If it was just a normal, like, Spanish public school, I would not put any effort into it whatsoever, because I don't care about school, because I'm well aware that what they're teaching us, I'm never going to use. Besides, like, basic math, speaking, that's it. Like,
Well, some people, I mean,
yes,
yeah, but
if
you-
you're going into accounting or if you want to be a chemist, of course you're going to use that. But the average person isn't going to use Pythagoras theorem ever again. I hate math with a passion.
it's interesting because you're quite good at math.
I am awful at math.
No, you're not. You learned so quickly. You passed me and Dad. We couldn't help you. I remember. You came home with homework. That short period of time you were at school, and we were like, no, sorry, can't help you here. And you figured it out yourself.
I didn't figure shit out. I asked my friends for the answers.
Yeah, but they helped you to do the whatever that you call it now. You see, I don't even have a name for it. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
No, but I'm very grateful that I grew up knowing how the school system is, and how the school system is genuinely stupid and it doesn't really teach us much and it's built to be against us. Growing up knowing that kind of negated that, like, feeling stupid thing, because I remember there were people in my class who they would get like a 98 on their exam and cry about it because they didn't get 100. I would be sitting there with a 60 and be gleaming with joy because I passed. Like, that's because, yeah, I mean, stupidity, I've never been insecure about stupidity because there's so many different ways of being smart.
I know.
Like, there is life smart, there's book smart, there's
Yeah,
street
but
smart,
this
there's
this is what is so messed up
Yeah.
with insecurities, because they don't make sense. It's not logical.
Nope.
And school is just as well. I just want to comment as well, because you are being brought up with us criticizing the school system, and I still do.
Yeah.
But for some kids and people, school is really good. I just think it's stone aged, the system needs to change because there's so many things missing in school. But I think certain parts in school is super important. Teamwork, the social bit, and everything like that. So I'm not knocking school 100%. I just think it needs to change.
The reason why school is good for certain people is because of the structure, the routine, the social life, everything like you just said.
Yeah.
The reason why it's awful is because of the things they're teaching us.
Some of it, yeah.
90% of it. It's garbage. Like, there were so many times in school where I'd sit there and I'm like, I'm never going to use this.
Yeah.
Like, we're learning about Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, that's
When
the
am I gonna
English language, yeah.
Yeah, but why?
No, I know.
Anyway.
No, so insecurities around that, yeah, school and education or being smart. But have you got insecure? Yeah, go. You have a question?
Ask your question.
So, do you have insecurities about not being good enough? In any area?
I used to. I used to all the time in every area. Now, again, it's just in relationships, but I'm working on that. But like, I don't really care because I don't believe in being good enough. Like, I am good and that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. If you're gonna think I'm good enough, then you can leave, like, because you're not worth my time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not good enough for me. You know. No, but like, that phrase of being good enough, it's like, yeah, like,
Or just being enough.
yeah, but that, I hate that, because I am enough.
Of course you are.
Yeah,
But there's normal. I'm just saying normally.
I know exactly what you mean. I just hate it.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, only in relationships I'll have times where I'll get triggered, get very emotional, be like, oh, they don't care about me at all, so let me do everything to be good enough for this person. So that's why I hate it so much. But my question to you was, because the reason why you came up with this topic is because you are currently going through like a
couples therapy.
Yeah, but it's not like,
oh, it is.
Yeah, but he's not a therapist.
Well, he's super educated.
He's not a therapist on
dedicated.
paper,
No.
but like, he's a therapist.
Yeah, in life
Okay.
and in this is what he does, you know.
Anyway.
So anyway, yeah. So homework, me and Dad got a book that we need to read together, which is called the Relationship Handbook, and we've only just started. But this came up in this book, we were reading it, and that's why I came up with the topic. I wanted to discuss it with you, because in this book, he's writing about all the problems in marriages. All. Yeah. That's what he claims, and this is how you can reset a relationship. All of the problems reside in insecurities and ultimately fear.
Yep.
So if you look at it that way, there's the relationship or the marriage or whatever relationship you have, actually, if you want to work on it and solve it, that could it
makes you stop pointing the finger at the other person and blaming your things on that person. It makes you realize that, hey, the thing I'm mad about is within me. Which is like, I feel like that's a big issue with relationships, is that you just deflect and go to the other person, like, screw this person, like, you don't work enough, you're not home with the kids enough, like, you don't buy you don't cook enough food, and like, it's always pointing at the other person. When you look at bad relationships, it's always pointing at each other, but never looking at themselves.
No. Understanding.
Yes.
It's all about understanding, working on understanding, awareness.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what are your insecurities?
Well, I just told you in relationships. Well, that's what I'm looking at the moment and figuring out. And
have you found any?
Well, to feel safe.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest one, and I what?
Your insecurity is to feel safe, and yet you married the one man the whole world is against, basically.
No, don't say
well,
that.
the whole system.
Yeah, but that doesn't bother me, actually, because that's kind of
but
outside.
that's just so ironic, and I love it.
That's outside our relationship.
I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
But I'm going to marry someone who's going to take me across the world because of the other side's not safe.
Yeah. No, I mean that's outside our relationship. I can't change that,
No,
and I
but
can't
that's just-
change him.
That's so funny to me.
Yeah. No, it is. It is a bit crazy. I never thought about it that way.
But you are a bit opposite.
Yeah, it never gets boring though, does it?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
Oh, I get, if I get bored, is that an insecurity? I don't think so. That's just a personality thing I have. I don't like being bored. And if
does?
life, well, people.
Boredom makes creativity. Sure.
Well, in some people's lives, but some people are just, when I look at some people's life, I go, oh my God, I would freak out in a month because it's so, scheduled. It's the same every week. It's the same every weekend, which is great for some people and personalities. Yeah. I would just go, whoa, this is just so not me.
Yeah, like the retired people who every day they go to the pub, they go golfing, and some paddle, then go home.
Or couples that been together as long as me and Dad, and they go out for dinner and they just sit with their phones. They got nothing to talk about any longer. And I've always said to Dad, if we ever come to that, I will leave you.
Yep.
I will leave, because then we're not growing together. We're not having fun anymore. But that I don't think will ever happen. We got too much to do and too much to have fun with. But going back to insecurities, in relationships, that would probably be but otherwise, insecurities within myself. I'm insecure about my belly.
Yeah.
That is so sad and messed up. I'm my age to be insecure about my body that way. But
there's so many times where, you're also insecure about your boobs. Well, you will not dare to let a person a stranger see you without a bra.
No, that's unnecessarily to put them through, I think.
There is no visual difference, but to you there is.
Yeah.
And when
you've had 3 kids and is at my age, you can come and complain and say, oh, but I know it's not nice, it's not logical, it's not nice to myself.
That's the thing that I hate and love the most about insecurities is that they're so ridiculous.
Completely.
'Cause you can be so stuck in your own insecurities and you're like, oh my God, my knees, they look so awful. They look like babies' faces in my legs and all these things. But then if someone else said that...
it'd be so rude.
No. If someone else said that about themselves, you'd be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Their knees.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
But because it's such a sadistic game.
Yeah.
It's
I was listening, because I listen to a lot of other podcasts, and I was listening to it's a couple, they have a podcast, and they are talking about different relationship things, and when they started the podcast, obviously there's no video, it's just sound, and she was saying, okay, his name is Sander, and she was saying, God, Sander is doing something very uncomfortable to me at the moment. And I was like, what?
Lord.
Yeah. And he's sitting here stroking my belly.
Ew.
And just because in his world, he likes that part of her body, but she is really insecure about it. So she's not comfortable, but she realizes that this is something that she needs to work on.
Yeah.
And so many women, and men as well, but I mean, I'm more close to the women body, of course, because I got one. But all our life, in our mind, we work against it. And it's so messed up. Yeah. Now we're coming back to bodies. But that's another
But that is a part of insecurities. Most, when you hear the word insecurities, you think body issues. But, the thing is...
Do you? Is that the first that comes up in your mind when you think about insecurities?
That's the first thing that comes up in most people's mind.
Not at all in mine.
Yeah, but see, you are so in your own world that you forget.
What do you mean?
Like, you're like, no, I never. So everyone else must not be like that.
No, not at all. I don't like to generalize, but
I
it's not the first thing that comes up when I think about insecurities.
Okay,
I
well,
do know.
90% of the rest of the population do.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
You don't like generalizing.
No,
I
I
do.
don't. I do though. Still,
I do.
I do as well, but I don't like it. I try not to.
No, but like I can be the same. Like I used to be very physically insecure, and then one day I was just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who genuinely cares? And I would wake up every day, look in a mirror, and I would say, you don't care.
No.
And then eventually I got confident. But I still have those days where I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you're a mess.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, but even in those times, I'm like, you're still gorgeous, though.
Yes, I love that you do
I'm
that.
Like, I'll look at myself, like, I'll put on some tight clothes, because I always wear baggy clothes, but I'll put on some tight clothes, and I'm like, oh, I have stomach, oh, my thighs are big, and I'm like, you know what, my stomach is full and happy, I've fed myself, my thighs are big, because they're happy and healthy. And it's like...
You're strong.
Yeah, and... Like,
I love that you do that in the mirror. I know when I used to teach yoga, and I did a lot of yoga classes some years in Spain, every class I taught, you finish off a yoga class in Shavasana, which is lying down, and I take them through deep relaxation before we meditate and so on. And I always finished when I took them back. I said, now roll over to your right side and give yourself a big, big loving hug, and repeat in your mind after me, I love and accept myself just the way I am right now. Tomorrow is different. I mean, it will be different. But today, I love and accept myself just the way I am right now. And with that, we're going to finish off because now we're rambling on a little bit over time.
I want to say one more thing.
Sure.
Because a big thing that is so subtle, but really truly does help with being less insecure, at least physically, is that every single time you leave a mirror, you're not allowed to leave that mirror unless you've left a positive thought.
Oh, good idea.
Because I have many times where I'll walk by a mirror and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And then I walk back to that mirror and I'm like, you know what, you're good. And then I'll leave.
Oh, what a good idea. Thank you for sharing. I never heard that before. I love that idea.
Because having that like negative thought be that thing that you see, and leaving it like that, that's awful. It's gonna like dwell in the back of your head.
Yeah, it's not good to marinate.
If you walk past the mirror, you're like, ew, and then you go back and you're like, you know what, no, I'm cool.
Yeah.
And then continue.
And also just be grateful that we can walk and we can...
Our bodies are incredible.
Amazing.
They're doing their job.
So very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And join us on...
Grateful things.
Oh, yes, we do that. We keep forgetting, actually. Okay, I'm very, very grateful for my healthy and strong body.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that you are so open, sharing. And I'm also very grateful that you are who you are in your mind and body and everything, and even if you want to have a label or not, that's I love you so much, and I'm very grateful for that, who you are.
Thank you. I'm also very grateful of who I am. I'm very grateful for how far I've come. I'm also very grateful to have you as a mother, and it's very amazing seeing your journey and how far you've come. And I'm also very grateful for my strong and healthy body because it's doing its job and you shouldn't put it down.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, sweetheart.
Stop being insecure. Love yourself.
Yeah. Join us on Substack for a little bit more with our backstage pod.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Ciao.